Rain poured outside the glass walls of the Grand Haven Hotel as Emily clutched her phone, trembling. Her ex was inside, engaged now, and she'd just lied that she was coming to the party with someone new. Someone who didn't exist. Her reflection looked back at her, mascara smudged, confidence gone. "What was I thinking?" she whispered, half laughing, half panicking. Then, a deep voice broke her spiral. "Are you okay?" She turned. A man in a tailored black suit stood beside her, his presence commanding but calm. His eyes held something steady, kind. I need a huge favor," she blurted. "Can you pretend to be my date for tonight? Just for an hour?" He blinked, surprised, amused, then smiled. "That's a first. But sure, why not?" She exhaled, relief flooding through her. As they entered the ballroom, heads turned. Her ex froze mid-sentence. For the first time that night, Emily held her chin high. "By the way," the stranger leaned down and whispered with a hint of mischief, "I'm Ethan Cole." She smiled nervously. "Nice to meet you, Ethan." He extended his hand to shake hers. "Ethan Cole, CEO of Cole Enterprises." Her heart skipped. The stranger she'd begged to help her was one of the most powerful men in the city. And the night was just beginning. As they stepped into the golden glow of the ballroom, conversations hushed for a moment. The sight of Emily, once the shy girl who'd never fit into her ex's glittering social circle, walking in beside a man like Ethan Cole was enough to turn heads and twist egos. Her ex, Daniel, spotted her instantly. He stood frozen, a champagne glass dangling loosely from his hand, his fiancée whispering something into his ear. Ethan noticed Emily's hand trembling slightly against his arm. Without hesitation, he leaned in and whispered, "Relax. You're doing great." His voice was calm, warm, like an anchor in a storm. When Daniel finally approached, his smile was too polished to be genuine. "Emily, didn't expect to see you here. And you brought a friend?" "Her boyfriend," Ethan said smoothly before she could answer, extending a firm handshake. "Ethan Cole." Daniel's expression flickered. "Cole, as in Cole Enterprises?" "The same," Ethan replied, his gaze steady but not arrogant. "Emily's told me a lot about this place. I wanted to meet the people she used to know." Emily almost choked. She hadn't told him anything. Yet somehow, Ethan's effortless confidence made her lie sound like truth. As the evening went on, he stayed by her side, laughing at her jokes, introducing her to others, making her feel seen in a way she never had before. For the first time in years, Emily didn't feel invisible. When the party ended and the lights dimmed, Ethan turned to her and said quietly, "You didn't need me to make him jealous, Emily. You just needed someone to remind you what you're worth." Her eyes stung, because he was right. The next morning, Emily woke with the faintest smile, something she hadn't done in months. The night replayed in her mind, Ethan's calm voice, his quiet strength, the way he'd made her feel seen instead of small. But then reality struck. He was a CEO. A man from another world. Last night had been a favor, nothing more. She sighed, pulling her coat tighter as she stepped into the cafe near her apartment. And then she froze. Sitting by the window, typing on a sleek laptop, was him. Ethan looked up, saw her, and smiled like he'd been expecting her all along. "Good morning, Miss Pretend Date." Emily laughed, surprised at how easily the tension melted away. "Do you always hang out in random cafes after saving strangers?" "Only when the coffee's good," he replied. Then, more seriously, "I wanted to check if you were okay." She blinked. "You came here for that?" He nodded. "You looked like someone who's been fighting too many silent battles alone." Her throat tightened. "You read people too well." "It's part of my job," he said softly. "But last night wasn't business. You reminded me that sometimes, success makes us forget what really matters, connection. They talked for hours, about books, regrets, impossible dreams. Somewhere between laughter and honesty, the walls around her heart began to crack. When she finally stood to leave, Ethan said, "Emily, what if we stopped pretending?" She turned, startled. He smiled. "Dinner. Tonight. For real this time." Her heartbeat quickened, not from nerves, but hope. Maybe, just maybe, fate had a strange sense of humor. Dinner that night felt different, not like the charade of the ballroom, but something quietly real. They met at a cozy restaurant overlooking the city, where candlelight softened Ethan's usual sharp confidence. Emily found herself laughing, sharing pieces of her life she hadn't told anyone in years. Her dreams, her fears, how she'd almost given up on love. Ethan listened, really listened, and when he spoke, it wasn't about wealth or success, but about loneliness, and how the higher he climbed, the emptier it felt. For a moment, they forgot who they were supposed to be. It was just two souls finding warmth in the middle of a cold world. But just as Emily started to believe in something more, her phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "You didn't tell me your new boyfriend is bidding on my company. Was this your plan all along?" Her breath caught. She looked up at Ethan, suddenly unsure. "Ethan, are you?" she whispered. His expression froze for a second, then softened. "Yes. My firm is negotiating a merger with his company." "But, Emily, that has nothing to do with you." Tears stung her eyes. "It feels like it does. Was I just part of the deal?" Ethan reached across the table, his voice steady but aching. "No. You were the only real thing in all of this." Silence hung between them, raw, trembling. Emily stood, fighting the urge to believe him, and whispered, "Maybe kindness shouldn't come with fine print." Then she walked away, leaving Ethan staring after her, a man who'd built empires, but might have just lost something far more valuable. Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Emily buried herself in work, but nothing silenced the echo of Ethan's words, "You were the only real thing in all of this." She wanted to believe him, but trust didn't come easy for someone who'd been broken before. One cold evening, she found herself walking past the same cafe where they'd met again. Through the window, she saw him, alone, coffee untouched, looking nothing like the powerful CEO she'd first met. Just a man waiting, hoping. Something in her heart softened. Against her better judgment, she walked in. He looked up instantly, eyes lighting up with that familiar warmth. "You came." "I wasn't planning to," she admitted. "But then I realized, you didn't owe me anything that night. You still helped me." That was real. Ethan stood, his voice low but full of emotion. "Emily, I canceled the merger." Her eyes widened. "You what?" "I couldn't build something on a lie. Not when it cost me you." Tears welled up. She shook her head, half laughing through the ache. "You're impossible." "Maybe," he said, stepping closer, "but I meant what I said, I don't want to pretend anymore." For a long, quiet moment, they simply looked at each other, two strangers who had once faked a connection, now standing in the middle of something real. She smiled softly. "Then don't. Stay." And when he took her hand, it felt like the universe had stopped holding its breath. Because sometimes, the best love stories begin with a single act of kindness, and a stranger who said yes.